Imagine two apartments in the same city, same neighborhood, with almost identical rent. The first apartment belongs to a person earning $95,000 per year. Step inside and you'll see a large 75-inch TV mounted on the wall, an expensive $4,000 leather sectional sofa, and a kitchen filled with appliances, most of them still sitting in their original boxes. The closets are packed with clothes, many with tags still attached. The spare bedroom has been turned into storage space for items that haven't been used in years. This person checks their bank balance with a heavy feeling of anxiety. They're only 2 missed paychecks away from a financial crisis. Now, the second apartment. It belongs to someone earning $52,000 per year. You immediately notice the sense of space and calm. There's a simple, modest couch, a normal-sized television, and a kitchen equipped with only the tools that actually get used. The closet contains clothes that are regularly worn. The spare bedroom is still being used as a proper bedroom. When this person looks at their bank account, they feel confident and at peace. They have 18 months of expenses saved and invest 20% of every paycheck. Same neighborhood, almost half the income, yet nearly 10 times more financial security. This is not a story about how much you earn. It's a story about the hidden relationship between your stuff and your money, a relationship most people never truly understand. The first person isn't obviously bad with money. They don't gamble and don't have flashy addictions. They simply allowed their lifestyle to quietly expand until it consumed every dollar they make. The second person discovered a powerful truth. Owning less doesn't mean living a lesser life. It means living with intention. And intentional living creates financial breathing room that most high earners never experience. Today, I'm going to share the minimalist money rules that separate people who always have money from those who never do, regardless of their income level. These rules aren't about living in deprivation. They're about realizing that every single item you own carries ongoing costs that most people never calculate. Let's begin with a concept that can completely change how you think about every purchase you make from now on. Everything you own costs you twice. The first cost is obvious. It's the purchase price you see on the receipt, but there's a second hidden cost that's often much larger and most people completely ignore it. The second cost includes storage, maintenance, mental energy, and opportunity costs. For example, that treadmill you bought takes up valuable space in your home. In most cities, space costs roughly $30 to $50 per square foot per year. Add clearance area and that treadmill might be occupying 20 square feet, meaning you're indirectly paying $600 to $1,000 every year just to store something that's mostly used as a clothes hanger. Then there's maintenance and upkeep. Take a $30,000 boat sitting in your driveway. It needs cleaning, winterization, registration, insurance, and repairs. On average, annual costs run around 10% of its value. That's $3,000 per year, even if you rarely take it out on the water. But it doesn't stop there. Every item also demands mental energy. It needs cleaning, organizing, maintaining, worrying about, and eventually getting rid of. Studies show that visual clutter raises cortisol levels and reduces your ability to focus. Your possessions are quietly stressing you out. And finally, there's the biggest hidden cost of all, opportunity cost. Every dollar tied up in stuff is a dollar that isn't working for you. That $15,000 home gym setup could have been invested in index funds and grown to $50,000 or more over 15 years. You didn't just buy a home gym. You chose a home gym instead of future financial freedom. When you add up all these hidden costs, many things actually cost more to own than they did to buy. The purchase price is only the entry fee. The real expenses keep going for as long as you keep the item. Minimalists understand this deeply. They don't avoid nice things because they dislike quality. They avoid unnecessary possessions because they've calculated the true total cost and decided most items simply aren't worth it. This understanding leads to the first rule minimalists follow strictly. Rule 1. Always calculate the cost per use before buying anything. Before making a purchase, estimate how many times you will realistically use the item, then divide the total cost by that number. This gives you the real cost per use, the only honest way to judge value. A $200 jacket worn only twice costs $100 per wear. A $400 jacket worn 200 times costs just $2 per wear. In reality, the more expensive jacket is actually much cheaper. This simple calculation kills most impulse purchases on the spot. That $300 kitchen gadget you'll use twice a year costs $150 per use in the first year alone, an extremely expensive way to do a simple task. On the other hand, a $30 tool you use every week costs less than 60 cents per use. Cost per use also highlights which higher-priced items are actually smart buys. A $2,000 mattress used every night for 10 years costs around 55 cents per use. That's excellent value for something that directly improves your sleep, health, and daily energy. A $1,500 espresso machine used daily for 5 years costs less than $1 per cup and often saves money compared to buying coffee outside. The math cuts through marketing, emotions, and social pressure. It shows you clearly what makes financial sense versus what only feels good in the moment. Rule 2, apply the replacement test to everything you already own. Walk through your home and ask yourself one honest question about each item. If this disappeared today, would I actually spend money to replace it? Most people discover that the answer for many items is no. Would you really buy another fondue set? Would you replace that bread maker gathering dust? Would you repurchase those clothes you haven't worn in over a year? These items exist in your life through inertia, not because you truly want or need them. They were impulse buys, unwanted gifts, or leftovers from past hobbies. They now have negative value. They take up space, mental energy, and time without giving real benefit in return. Every minute you spend cleaning, organizing, or thinking about things you wouldn't replace is time taken away from things that actually matter. Minimalists are ruthless with items that fail this test. They sell what has value, donate what others can use, and throw away what no one needs. The process feels uncomfortable at first, but then deeply liberating. Removing unwanted possessions creates a surprising sense of lightness. Rooms feel bigger, decisions become easier, cleaning becomes faster, and you always know where everything is, because only purposeful items remain. Rule 3, never upgrade out of boredom. One of the most common patterns among people who earn well but stay broke is upgrading perfectly good items simply because they feel bored or a newer version exists. Their current TV works great, but the new one has slightly better picture quality. Their phone works perfectly fine, but the latest model has a slightly improved camera. Their car runs perfectly fine, but the new model has fresh styling. Their furniture still does its job well, but they've simply grown tired of looking at it. These upgrades feel like progress, but in reality, they are wealth destruction disguised as improvement. Minimalists follow a very strict policy. Never replace anything that is still functioning properly. The phone that reliably makes calls, sends messages, and runs apps doesn't need to be replaced just because a newer model exists. The car that safely and reliably takes you wherever you need to go doesn't need replacing just because your neighbor bought something newer and shinier. This single policy can save an enormous amount of money over a lifetime. The average person replaces their phone every 2 to 3 years, even when the old one still works perfectly. Over 30 years, this habit alone can waste $30,000 to $50,000 on unnecessary upgrades. When you apply the same pattern to TVs, laptops, furniture, and other categories, the total lifetime waste easily crosses $200,000. Minimalists avoid this trap by clearly defining what functional means. An item stays useful until it actually stops performing its main purpose. Boredom is not a reason to replace it. Wanting something new is not a reason. The existence of a newer model is not a reason. Only real mechanical failure or the genuine inability to do its job counts as failure. Everything else is just clever marketing trying to make you solve problems you don't actually have. Rule 4, create friction for spending and ease for saving. Human behavior naturally follows the path of least resistance. If spending is easy and saving is hard, you will spend. If saving is easy and spending is difficult, you will save. Minimalists deliberately design their environment so that the right choice becomes the easier choice. They create friction for spending by removing saved credit cards from online stores, enforcing a 24-hour waiting period for any non-essential purchase, deleting shopping apps from their phone, unsubscribing from promotional emails, avoiding stores unless they have a specific item in mind. They create ease for saving by setting up automatic transfers to investment accounts right after payday, keeping only a small amount in their regular checking account, making savings and investments happen automatically before they even see the money, treating savings like a non-negotiable fixed expense. These systems are far more powerful than willpower. Willpower gets tired, especially when you're stressed or emotional, but a well-designed environment works 24/7. Minimalists don't trust themselves to always make good decisions in the moment. Instead, they build systems that make good decisions almost automatic. Just the 24-hour waiting rule alone stops roughly 70% of impulse purchases because most desires for new things fade away within a day. Rule 5, count your possessions regularly. This may sound extreme at first, but it's incredibly effective. Counting creates awareness, and awareness prevents mindless accumulation. Choose one category and literally count how many items you own in it. Write the number down. The results usually surprise people. How many shirts do you really own? Most people underestimate and discover they have 3 to 4 times more than they thought. Same with kitchen gadgets, shoes, books, or items in the junk drawer. Once you know you own 47 shirts, buying a new one feels very different. You're not just adding one shirt, you're increasing your collection to 48. The absurdity becomes obvious. Minimalists keep track of key categories over time. They set clear maximum limits, for example, no more than 30 clothing items total or 15 books at once. Many also follow a one in, one out rule. Every new item must replace an existing one. These limits stop lifestyle creep before it starts. Without clear boundaries, possessions naturally expand to fill whatever space is available. With boundaries in place, every new item requires a conscious decision about what it will replace.